excited to be back with another amazing episode of Mornings with Nano. Season 3 has been incredible thus far. It's been filled with so much value. And I know that a lot of people sometimes wonder, yo, Nano, what are you built off of? Like, how is it that you've been able to accomplish all that you've accomplished? And, I get these questions every time I meet, my family and my people. And, they always tell me, yo, I want to know more about, what you're built out of inside. Like, what I want to be able to go into Nano's mind and see how Nano thinks and how he operates and how is it that he looks at certain things. And I'm like, you know what? I'm going to do a podcast for my family on Nano's mentality. So today's episode is going to be, okay, the 5 pillars to Nano's mentality. Okay, I'm going to give you guys the 5 pillars that make up the mentality that I live with on a day-to-day basis. And I think you guys are really going to enjoy this because now, not only will you guys have a structure of how I think, you guys can also take this and identify what areas in your life, okay, are you not so passionate about or you're not so, aware of that now you can become aware of. And this is going to help you guys out so much. Trust me, when I learned this from Kobe Bryant. See, I'm a huge, huge Kobe Bryant fan. I embodied the Mamba mentality, and he made me aware of these 5 pillars. And I'm here to tell you guys now that I live by these 5 pillars. And, the goal is just like Kobe Bryant is to become a legend. Okay. And I want to mention this because I want you guys to understand this. And this is how we're going to start off this episode. Okay. I want you to always remember you die twice in this lifetime. You die twice. Okay. You die once when you're physically buried. And then the second time you die, okay, is the last time your name is mentioned. After it's all said and done and the dust settles, how many times is your name going to be mentioned after that? Is it going to be mentioned just for a few months, a few years, or is it going to be mentioned forever? See, my goal is for my name to be mentioned forever. And for everyone listening to this, that should be your goal as well. But in order for you to do so, you need to embody and you need to really understand these next 5 pillars that I'm going to go over with you about my mentality. All right. So the pillar number 1 that makes up my mentality is my passion. You see, guys, you got to have love for what you do on a day-to-day basis, because you see what I do every day, it's not a hassle to me. It's not something that I hate to do. I actually love what I do. I wake up every day happy, excited, filled with abundance, filled with blessings, that I get to do what I do, that I get to inspire others, that I get to be a leader for thousands of people all around the world. I love that. I love the business that I'm a part of. I love running online businesses. I love, being able to be a leader to thousands of people. This is what I love to do. This is my dream. This was my goal from the moment I was young. I always wanted to be a great leader. And now the fact that God has given me the opportunity to walk in my purpose every day, I'm very passionate about what I do. And I really learned how to play the game because I was taught very early on that if you don't learn how to play the game will play you. So I've become very passionate about this journey and I want to learn everything about it. Okay, I want to know the ins and outs, the ups and downs. I embrace it. I don't ever let myself get too big for anything because I understand that if I get too big for the little things then become too big for me. And that's something that while on this journey, we got to understand. Okay, you got to stay passionate about what you do. And if every day you're not waking up with a smile, if you're not waking up excited about the career and the journey that you're on, then maybe it's time for you to start looking into something else, fam. Because you see, you got to love what you do. All right. I work 18, 19 hours a day, but I don't look at it as a burden. I look at it as a blessing because I love what I do. It's not work. It's a passion. I'm walking in my purpose every single day. I've literally programmed my body and my mind to function off of 5 to 6 hours of sleep. so that way I can be up more hours throughout the day so I can work on my purpose. I'm so passionate about what I do. Just talking to you guys about this, okay? I'm so passionate about it, okay? Because I understand that when you love what you do, it's never work. It's your purpose. You don't mind waking up every day at 5 in the morning, 6 in the morning to wake up and do it. You don't mind going to sleep late. You don't mind traveling hours and hours and hours to different cities and different places all over the world. You don't mind going through the ups and the downs. If you really love what you do, you don't mind going through the challenges that life throws at you. You don't mind climbing over the obstacles that are going to be presented to you during the journey. You know why? Because you love what you do. I love failure. I love the challenges. I love the negative critics. I love when people don't believe in me. I love those things. Think about that. It's all perspective. I can choose to dislike it and hate it, or I can choose to love it and embrace it. Do you love what you do? Are you happier every single morning when you wake up? Are you waking up earlier than you usually wake up to go out there and get it? Are you sacrificing sleep because you rather be up working on your dreams instead of sleeping 8, 10 hours a day? You know that every time you hit the snooze button, you're resisting life. I don't hit the snooze button. My alarm goes up. I'm up out of bed on my knees, praying to God and thanking him every single day for allowing me to wake up and serve my purpose. I love what I do. I love helping people. I created this podcast to help you guys that are listening right now, to help you understand the basics, okay? To help you guys understand the spiritual side of success and help you all make sure that you reach your full potential. That was the purpose behind this morning's Waneno podcast, okay? I wanted to make sure that I continue to walk in my purpose and serve the masses. So if you don't love what you do, take a step back and go out there and find and love what you do. Because at the end of the day, if you don't love what you do, you're going to live miserably. Look at the individuals that go to work every day and they don't love what they do. They don't like to be there. They're complaining about it all week. Then they're at work, they're complaining about it. They can't wait to get out at 5 o'clock. They get out of work. And then from the moment they get out of work to the moment that they go to sleep, they're thinking about the fact that they got to go to work the next day. And like they always say, you become what you think about most. So if all you're thinking about is your job, and you don't like what you do and you're not passionate about what you do, then guess what? You're going to continue to attract more situations, more circumstances that are going to keep you thinking that way and keep you in that job mentality. But you see, because I love what I do, I embrace the challenges of this journey, okay? I love helping people. I love walking in my purpose. The universe and God continue to put situations and circumstances in my life so I can continue to walk in my purpose and I can continue to love what I do. So the first thing that you must embrace and the number one pillar that you got to really take in for yourself is the passion. Okay, that's number one. Pillar number two is obsession. You see, guys, if you look at the most successful athletes in the world, the most successful actors in the world, the most successful people, period, in the world, you can see that they are obsessed. Michael Jordan was obsessed with basketball. Tiger Woods was obsessed with golf. Will Smith was obsessed with becoming the best actor that he can be. Okay? These are individuals that are truly obsessed with becoming the better version of themselves. Okay, Kobe Bryant was obsessed to be the best basketball player in the world and be better than Jordan. Okay, so what you got to understand, guys, is that if you're not obsessed with what you're doing, you need to maybe take another step back now and wonder, why aren't you obsessed? If this is what you really want, okay, you got to be striving to do this to the best of your facts, Nano. You got to strive to be the best. That's a good one right there. All right, guys, here we go. It is 10:20. And let's get this call started. Grand Rising and happy Tuesday, everybody. I hope everybody is having a phenomenal start to their day. I'm feeling good. I'm feeling blessed. I'm feeling aligned. I'm feeling connected. Let me see who's done their morning routine so far. Put a 222 in the chat box if you guys have done your morning routines thus far. I'm feeling good. Yes, yes, yes. I love to see it. I love to see it. Shout out to all of you guys making it a priority to work on yourselves, to do your morning routines, to get your personal development in, to read your books, to listen to those audios, to write your goals down, to make sure that these things are in alignment for you. Remember, guys, the most important thing that you could do each and every single day is focus on you. Is take the time to focus on you. And like I always teach you guys, focus on you until the focus is on you. All right. And I'm just very blessed, very grateful that you guys are making it a priority to work on yourselves, because I know how valuable that is. And at the end of the day, it's the most valuable thing that you can do, because remember, in life is not about what we can get. In life is about who we become, and what we become is what makes us deserving of the things that we ask for. So at the end of the day, the most important thing that you could do each and every single day is focus on becoming the best version of you. Okay, that's what your focus should be right now. And your focus shouldn't be to make more money. Your focus shouldn't be to quit your job. Your focus shouldn't be this. Focus shouldn't even be a relationship in reality. Your focus should be becoming the best version of you and growing a closer relationship with your creator, with God, with whatever you believe in. Those two things will help you get everything else you want. It'll help you get the relationship that you want. It'll help you get the business, the job, your family. Everything will fix if you fix you. But if you don't fix yourself, you can't fix the outside. The inside, all right, is a reflection of the outside. So if you're not happy with what it looks like outside, you got to change the inside. Okay, the inside has to change. The thoughts have to change. Everything has to change within so that the outside can change. And until I didn't change the inside, my outside didn't change. Okay, so if you're not happy with the things that are happening outside right now, guess what? That means you need to change what's happening inside. And that is the truth of the reality of the whole entire situation. I know we all go through different things, but whenever my outside is not looking good, I just know that I'm not putting enough focus on myself. Okay. And I already know, because why are these things happening to me? Right? Why are these things happening in my life? That's what I ask myself. I'm like, this is happening. Like, obviously, there's something wrong inside. I'm obviously, not thinking the right thoughts. I'm obviously not vibrating at the right frequency that these things are happening in my life. So I need to focus on me. I need to go back to the basics. I need to make sure I'm finishing my routine. I'm being intentional with everything I'm focusing on, because until I don't change the inside, I can't change the outside. And what do I mean by the inside? Your thoughts, your emotions, the things you can't see. All right. Those are the two things you can't see: your thoughts and your emotions. You can see the actions and you can see the results, but you can't see the thoughts and you can't see the emotions. So when I say, hey, you got to change the inside, that's what I mean by change the inside. You got to change the way that you think, and you got to change the way that you think, because your thinking controls your emotions. So if your mind is not in the right place, your emotions are not in the right place. And your emotions are your guidance indicator. They let you know what you're attracting and what you're manifesting into your life. Okay, always keep that in mind. But that's not my training for today. I got an even better training for you guys today, but it goes along with what I'm saying here today. So I'm excited. The other day, we talked about emotions, and I remember I said to you guys that we were talking about emotional intelligence, and I remember saying that the woman that masters her emotional intelligence becomes extremely powerful. So I actually had a couple of women as well, that reached out to me and said, yo, can you do a whole training dedicated to emotional intelligence? And I'm like, yeah, no problem. I love to do it. Actually, it's one of my favorite trainings to do, because I know how important emotional intelligence is. Okay. And it's a training that I do a couple times a year, because it's a training that is needed for every single person that's on this call. including all men and all women. So today we're going to be going over the 4 levels of emotional intelligence. You need to know this off the top of your head the same way I know this, right? Right now, there's 4 levels of emotional intelligence. Okay. Now, if you can't name the 4 levels of emotional intelligence, then you don't know this well enough, okay, to apply this information. Which means if you can apply this information effectively, then that means you're not getting the results from your emotional intelligence, which means you're struggling when it comes to your emotions. You need to know this information off the top of your head. Okay, the same way right now, if someone was to come up to me and ask me, Nano, what are the 4 levels of emotional intelligence? I could right away go, pam, 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 pam. 4 levels, right? I know them. I know the definitions behind them because I study them and I'm able to apply them. Okay. I learned these 4 levels because I wasn't the most emotionally intelligent individual. As a matter of fact, at one point in my life, my emotional intelligence was my weakness. Okay. It was something that I was not good at. All right. And I learned that EQ is more important than IQ. All right. Your emotional intelligence is more important than the knowledge that you know. Okay. So we're going to cover that today. I hope that you guys are ready for that. Now, if you're ready for the 4 levels of emotional intelligence, put a 444 in the chat box. Just real quick, couple house rules. House rule number 1 is turn off all devices of distractions. If you guys are going to be paying attention here today, I want you guys to be fully locked in with me for the next 30 to 40 minutes. Okay. House rule number 2 is take notes. You will forget a vast majority of the information that you don't write down here today. Okay. Now, if you're driving and you're at work and you can't take notes, I absolutely understand. What I would say is just watch the recording later so you can be able to jump on. All right. And then house rule number 3 is listen with the intention to apply. Okay. Listen with the intention to apply. It is so important to apply this information. Okay. But don't just apply it, study this information. Take the time to learn this information. I'm the kind of guy that I read it over and over and over again. I make index cards, and I have people test me on it. Like I really take the time to learn the information because I know a lot of people sometimes they jump on the call and they're like, yo, great training, Nano. I loved it. You get motivated for the day, but a week later, you can't even tell me what the 4 levels of emotional intelligence are. So yes, you jumped on the call. Yes, you were able to get 1 or 2 nuggets from it, but did you intentionally remember the information? Were you intentionally listening, to be able to digest it and be able to get the most out of it? And that's what I want you guys to start doing. It's not just jumping on the call and getting motivated. It's about jumping on the call, taking notes, studying the information, applying the information, and getting results from the information. Okay. I want you guys to be able to know this information the same way I know it. Okay. And I want to be able to go up to you and ask you, hey, what are the 4 levels of emotional intelligence? And you're able to tell me what those levels are without you having to look at your notes. That's the kind of knowledge of this information that I want you to have. Okay. That you can, boom, right? That I can test you on it and you're ready on it. So let's go over the 4 levels of emotional intelligence. Okay. Now, if you've never read the book, this comes from the book Emotional Intelligence 2.0. Is one of my favorite books of all times. Okay. So we've always learned in life that, in life, things happen to us. No, things don't happen to us, they happen for us, right? And everything that happens in life happens for us. And throughout life, I want you guys to know each and every single day, our emotional intelligence is tested. Your emotional intelligence is tested from the moment you wake up. Let me explain why. Right? From the moment you wake up, your emotional intelligence is tested, right? Because there's something called peace or pleasure, right? You know that when your alarm goes off, that means it's time to get out of bed. Okay. Now, when you get out of when the alarm goes off, right away your emotions are activated. Okay, do I get out of bed? Are you tired? Or you know, or you're gonna stay in bed because you want to keep sleeping, so on and so forth, right? Most of the time, the peace side of the alarm going off, is you getting out of bed and starting your day. The pleasure part of it is staying in bed and getting a couple of more minutes, or even sometimes it turns into hours of sleeping, right? Now, what I've always learned is, no, I haven't started yet. But I've always learned is that our emotional intelligence is tested at all times. It's tested in our businesses, it's tested with our kids, it's tested in the daily interactions when we're on our way to work, it's tested at your job, it's tested with your friends, with your family. At all times, your emotional intelligence will be tested. Okay, so it's very important that you understand how this all works. Okay, so I'm gonna give you guys some definitions, but remember, this is one of those trainings that you got to be locked in with me, because I'm gonna be giving you trainings. I'm gonna be giving you points, but I'm also gonna be giving you definitions. So let's get right into the 4 levels of emotional intelligence. All right, number 1, it's self-awareness. All right, self-awareness is number 1. Now, what is self-awareness? Emotional self-awareness, right? Write this down. The ability to know yourself and understand your emotions. Very simple. That's what emotional self-awareness is, and that's number 1. Okay? The ability to know yourself and understand your feelings and emotions. Okay? So that's the first level of emotional intelligence, is you being self-aware and the ability to know yourself and understand your feeling. And you got to ask yourself, and you always got to remember, what's causing you to feel the way that you're feeling. Remember, like I said earlier, your emotions are your guidance indicator. Okay, they are your guidance indicator. So they tell you, based off of how you feel, what you're attracting into your life. Okay. And I've always explained to you guys, there's emotions and there's frequencies. Okay. Low frequency emotions, okay, for example, all right, are feelings of stress, overwhelmment, victim, hate, rage, so on and so forth, right? Sadness, grief. These are low vibrational emotions. Okay. Majority of the time, if you are vibrating at that level, then it's due to the fact that maybe you're thinking about something that doesn't benefit you. You're thinking about a past. You're thinking about failure. You're thinking about things that don't serve you, right? Whenever you're vibrating at those levels of emotions, then you know that there's something wrong with something that's happening potentially on the outside that you're allowing to make you feel those feelings. Okay. If we think about high vibrational emotions, we think of emotions like happiness, we think of joy, we think of gratitude, we think of positive, positive self-direction. We think of high vibrational things. Now, if I'm in that emotion, it's because my mind is in the right place. Okay. My mind is in the right place. I'm thinking the right thoughts. I'm taking the right actions. Okay. So we got to understand why we feel the way that we feel. That's number 1. Why are you feeling sad? Why are you feeling stressed? But also, why are you happy? Why are you filled with love? You got to understand both sides, because when I think about mine, remember, I understand both. I know sometimes why I'm sad, why I'm stressed, why I'm depressed, why things aren't working in my favor. And I take the time to understand those things, right? You got to get to know yourself, right? Remember, self-awareness is the ability to know yourself and understand your feelings. So I take the time to understand and know myself. And then know, why do you feel this way? Why are you sad? Why are you stressed? What's causing you to feel overwhelmed? Okay. What are you grieving about? You got to understand, you got to get down to the root cause. But then I also understand, when I'm happy, when I'm blessed, when I'm feeling full of gratitude. All right. I know these things, right? I took the time to understand these things as well. Okay. So the first step to anything is awareness, is aware that you're feeling the way that you're feeling. And throughout life, a lot of us, sometimes we tend to ignore those things. And if you ignore them, then guess what? It becomes a lifestyle. It just becomes a part of you. That's why sometimes there's people out there, that it feels like they have a dark cloud over them at all times. It feels like nothing ever goes their way. It feels like everything that they touch basically gets demolished, it gets destroyed. Why? Because they're not even aware. Okay? They're not even aware of why they're feeling the way that they're feeling. So that's why awareness is number one, because awareness isn't just about feeling it, it has to do with understanding your strengths and your weaknesses. Okay? Inner standing, not understanding, inner standing. Can everybody put inner standing in the chat box for me really quick? Put inner standing for me in the chat. It's not about understanding, it's about inner standing. You got to understand why you feel the way that you feel. Okay? It can't just be a understanding. It got to be an understanding. Why? Where are those deep emotions ingrained? Where are they? Why are they there? Why are you feeling them? You got to understand those emotions. Okay? And remember, because you have the awareness of it now, and because you understand it, right? You got to understand the importance of preparing yourself to start your day every day the right way so that you can have the right thoughts going into it. You got to know the enemy. You can't defeat the enemy if you don't know the enemy. You got to become aware of why you're having negative thoughts. I had to become aware of that. It's funny because I always tell people the story. When I first started my personal development journey, I'm a very obsessive person. Okay, so for me, I'm the kind of person that if I learn something, I become extremely obsessive about it. So for me, I was like, okay, in order for me to become extremely emotional intelligence, I need to keep track of my negative thoughts. Okay, because obviously right now I'm not feeling good. So if I'm not feeling good, it's because my thoughts are not in the right place. And if my thoughts are not in the right place, it's because of the things that I'm seeing, I'm hearing, I'm smelling, I'm tasting, and I'm touching, right? My senses is what I can see with my senses. So I always tell people this, right? Your feelings are determined by what you think. And what you think is determined by your environment and the things that you see with your senses, right? So, okay, I always remember you can't connect the dots going forward. You can only connect them going backwards. Today, we're talking about emotional intelligence. So if my emotions are not in the right place, it's because my thoughts are not in the right place. If my thoughts are not in the right place, it's because what I'm seeing, what I'm hearing, what I'm smelling, what I'm tasting, and what I'm touching. You got to keep that in mind. This is a very important strategy and technique behind it. Okay. So what I would do was throughout the day, since I was always on my laptop, listen to this. This is just like a little strategy that I used back in the day. I would put a little post-it note on my laptop and I would cut it down the middle, right? And what I would do is throughout the day as I was working, I would be very conscious of my negative thoughts. Okay. And whenever I had a negative thought, right? For example, down the post-it note, obviously I would put negative to the left, positive to the right. And every time I had a negative thought, I had to put a tally on it. Okay, yo, I just had a negative thought. I had to be consciously aware. Damn, I just had a negative. It's almost like catching yourself. Are you guys ever heard the quote by Jim Rohn? Stand guard at the door of your mind. Stand guard, become the security guard at the door of your mind. You allow what comes in and what goes out, right? So I stand guard at the door of my mind throughout the day, and I'm looking and I'm paying attention to what's coming in. So when I see those negative feelings and those negative thoughts coming in, okay, I'm aware of them now. I would make a tally of them. Now, not only would I make a tally of the thought, I would write it down and I would do my best to understand where it was coming from. Where is this coming from? Why am I having this thought? What caused me to have this thought? Did it come from a friend? Did it come from a family member? Did it come from a past experience? I really take the time. Remember, I become obsessive. I wanted to study why I was doing this. Why was I having these thoughts? Why was I doubting myself? Why was I insecure? Why was, Why was I having these negative thoughts? I needed to really understand it. Like I'm saying earlier, you got to get in. You got to really go in, dig deep to really understand this. So I would write them down, boom, 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 boom. And then on top of that, I would tell myself the opposite of that. I would tell myself the opposite of what that negative thought was. And I would tell myself 5 positive things to overcome and override the negative thought. Okay. So I don't know if that makes sense. So let's say, for example, I told myself, man, I don't know. I don't know if I can become a public speaker, or I don't know if I'm gonna make it. I don't know if I'm gonna ever be able to make 6 figures. These were thoughts that I would have. I don't know if I could be a successful leader in this industry. I don't know if I could be a successful speaker, right? These were thoughts that I would have when I was on the come up, right? I don't know if I'm gonna ever be able to buy my mom that house that I promised her. You know, these were thoughts that I had, but these are thoughts of doubt, of fear. What if I fail? What if things don't work in my favor? What if I go and share this business with other people and everybody tells me no, right? So I had to become aware of it and then understand where it was coming from, right? Understand where it was coming from and then override it. So if I told myself, I don't know if I'm going to become a 6-figure earner, the opposite of that, me telling myself 5 positive things, is I am going to become a 6-figure earner. I do deserve it. You are that leader, Nano. I believe in you, bro. Keep going, keep being obsessive. You are that successful leader. I believe in you, bro. And I would tell myself the opposite of it. Why? Because every negative thought is a seed planted. So for me to override that negative thought, I need to plant 5 positive seeds. Now, I know this sounds wild, but this is what you got to do, though. This is what you have to do. Like, you got to consciously catch the thought and override the thought. So imagine you sitting down like this. Let's say I'm sitting down right here. I caught the negative thought. I'm like, damn, I just had a negative thought. And I would literally sit down right there where I was at and just tell myself the 5 positive things right there. You are going to be successful, bro. You are going to build a 6-figure business. That's you already. I am successful. I am wealthy. I am abundant. I am confident. I do believe in you, Nano. Keep going, keep going, keep going. And it's catching it over and 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 over again until you override it. It's a practice. It's not just knowing about it. You got to practice it, though. You understand what I'm saying? It's not just, oh, I know. Yeah, the first level to emotional intelligence is self-awareness. That's not enough. It's actually applying the information. It's actually applying it. Okay, remember, what is the definition of self-awareness, emotional self-awareness? The ability to know yourself and understand your feelings. You got to know yourself. You got to know you. Nobody knows you better than you know yourself. You got to know how you are when it comes to waking up early. You got to know how you are when it comes to arriving at work and how you're going to vibrate when you get to work. You got to know yourself. You got to know what makes you feel good. You got to know what makes you sad. You got to know your triggers. You got to know your traumas. You got to know all of that. This is very important information right here, because if you don't know any of these things, then you're going to walk around life not aware of how to move around. You got to know all of this. That's why you got to take time to study yourself. Okay. Some of us spend more time studying people on Instagram than we take time studying ourselves. We know more about the celebrities that we follow, the influencers that we follow. We know more about them and their stories and their emotions than we know things about ourselves. You got to know you. And the only way to know you is spending time with you. You got to spend time with yourself in silence. And that's why they say separate to elevate. Isolation requires separation. This is important information. So number 1 is self-awareness. Okay. Every day you got to become aware and know yourself more. Know why you're feeling the feelings that you're feeling and know why you're happy. I know why I'm happy and at peace. And I know why I'm vibrating at a high level right now. Okay. I know exactly why, because I've been doing the work. All right. I've been doing my morning routine. Okay, I've been going to the gym a solid at least 3 times a week. I'm not going as much as I would like to go, but I'm going at least a solid 3 times a week. Okay, my body's feeling good. All right, I'm getting compliments like, yo, Nano, you look stronger, bro. I see you, man. Okay, you're growing every single day. You know, I'm reading the books. Business is at an all-time high. All right. We're traveling the world. Summer's looking good. We're going to Europe this summer. We got a 10-country tour on the way. All right. We're going to Dominican Republic. Life is amazing. Mom is good. Father's good. My family's good. I feel amazing. I feel blessed. Bills are paid. Everything. Business is striving. Okay, I have amazing friends. I have amazing relationships all over the world. I'm happy. I'm blessed. Okay, so I understand why I feel the way that I feel. Every day I wake up feeling extremely blessed and grateful. But I also remember the days where I was sad, right? I also remember the days where I was stressed and depressed. I remember those days. And I remember why I felt those feelings. Okay. So you got to see both sides. Okay. God is the greatest. God is great. God has been working overtime for me. I sit there in gratitude every day and I just tell him, thank you, thank you, thank you. Because he's been working overtime. Because, man, let me tell you something as well. Sometimes it takes you to go through a dark time for you to get to the light. I went through a dark time before I got to this light. So don't think that, oh my God, Nano, you're so blessed. This and that. Yes, I am. But don't get me wrong. I went through a super dark time before I got to this light. So you may be in that dark time and you just got to get through it. You might just have to get through it so that you can get to the light. Just know I'm the example of getting to the light. I mean, look at me, man. My face is glowing. I'm happy. Look at the smile, big cheesy smiles. Everything is working in my favor, right? But that's the light right now. But if you would have saw me a couple months ago, I was in the dark and I was sad and there were tears coming down my eyes. Okay. So it's the law of rhythm. Everything happens how it's supposed to happen. Okay. You got to keep that in mind. If I was able to get through the dark time, just know that this too shall pass. So number one is self-awareness. That's the first level of emotional intelligence. Number two, this is very important. Listen to this one. Number two is self-management. Number two is self-management. This is the definition of self-management. The ability to manage your thoughts on a day-to-day basis. That's all it is. Very simple. Self-management is the ability to manage your thoughts on a day-to-day basis. Now, this one is going to wake some of you guys up, okay? I learned that the average person has a total of 60 to 70,000 thoughts on a day-to-day basis, subconsciously and consciously. 60 to 70,000 thoughts in 24 hours. Think about this. Now, we are only consciously aware of about 7 to 10,000 of those thoughts, consciously aware throughout the day. Listen to this, which means, right? Let's just say it's 60,000 thoughts a day. Let's just say. And let's say that we're only consciously aware of 10,000 of those thoughts. That means that we are not aware of 50,000 thoughts that happen throughout the day that we don't even think about, that they're just happening in our mind subconsciously that we don't even know about. Now, stay with me here. It gets crazier. 70% of the thoughts we have on a day-to-day basis are negative past thoughts for someone who's not working on themselves. So before I joined and before I got into personal development, when I learned this, I'm like, wait, you mean to tell me that I have 60,000 thoughts a day and 70% of them are negative? And I want to be successful. How am I going to be successful if 70% of my thoughts are negative? He said, that's the reason why he said, I remember my mentor say, he said, this is the reason why only 5% of people are successful. Nano, you don't understand the numbers yet? Most people don't have the thoughts in place to become successful. Why you think 5% succeed and the other 95% don't? Because they don't know this information. Remember, you can't do what you don't know. So people don't know that they have 60,000 thoughts a day. As a matter of fact, if this is your first time hearing that you have 60 to 70,000 thoughts a day, put a 1 in the chat box, right? If this is your first time ever hearing it, and it's okay if it's your first time, because I remember my first time when I first heard it, I'm like, sheesh, I didn't know that. That's actually good information to know. I didn't know that I had 60,000 thoughts a day. It almost sounds like it's too good to be true. Wait, 60,000, that's a lot of thoughts. But if you look it up, that's the reality of the situation. 60 to 70,000 thoughts a day. And 70% of them are negative thoughts that you can't control because you're not consciously aware of them. So think about it, guys. How do we become successful when 70% of our thoughts are negative? You got to learn how to manage them. You got to think about that. You got to learn how to manage them. That's what self-management and managing the thoughts that you have on a day-to-day basis. Now, Neno, how do I manage my thoughts better? It starts in the morning. Why you guys think that I am so big on morning routines? That's why I always tell people, yo, how you got to manage your thoughts. Guys, look, I come from the hood. Washington Heights, New York City. The low, where my thoughts were probably 80% negative. And the way that I was able to overcome that was through a morning routine, was through a routine that I could follow every single day at the beginning of the day that helped me change my thoughts over a consistent period of time, right? It's waking up. And remember, what you feed your mind, write this down. What you feed your mind in the first 30 minutes to an hour of you waking up determines the direction of your thoughts for the rest of the day. I'm going to repeat it again. What you feed your mind in the first 30 minutes to an hour of you waking up determines the direction of your thoughts for the whole entire day. Now, remember what we said. Our thoughts control what? What do our thoughts control? Let's see who's been paying attention. Let's see who's taking notes over here. Let me see what we got on Instagram over here. Our thoughts control what, family? What do they control? They control our emotions. So self-management is all about managing your thoughts. Because if you manage your thoughts, you manage your emotions. So here's the thing. If you know that what you feed yourself in the first 30 minutes to an hour is going to determine your thoughts for the rest of the day, wouldn't it be smart to feed your mind the proper information in those first 30 minutes to an hour? It would only be right. You got to feed your mind the proper information. You got to feed your mind the right things. So this is why prayer is so important in the morning. This is why gratitude is so important in the morning. This is why spending time in meditation, reading a book, going to the gym, journaling your thoughts. This is why doing these things in the morning are so important. Because think about it. If you wake up and the first thing you're doing is practicing gratitude, right? What is one of the highest forms of emotions? Is gratitude, appreciation. All right. If you're praying, you're connected with God, right? You're praying to God. You're praying to your highest, the higher form of creation, right? So you're in your prayer, you're reading your goal card. All right. You're reading where you're going. You're doing meditations where you're calming your mind down and you're cleansing yourself of the things that no longer serve you. You're reading good books, right? You're reading good books. You're feeding your mind information. You're listening to audios. You're feeding your mind information. Okay. You're writing your goals down. You're writing down your emotions. You're writing down what you're grateful for. Okay. This is all going into your mind. Now, think about the person I was before that. Neno would be the person that woke up. The first thing would do, grab his phone, get on Instagram, check his phone, check who messaged him, check my emails, See what these people are posting. See what Justin LeBoy is posting. See what World Star is posting. See all the negative news. Talk to people. Do this. Turn on the news. Whatever. Blah 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 blah. And this is what I was feeding myself to start the day. And then I would be complaining that I didn't have the right thoughts throughout the day. You guys ever heard a song at the beginning of the day and then it sticks with you throughout the day and you just catch yourself singing it throughout the day? That ever happened to you guys? It happens to me. It happens to me all the time. As a matter of fact, it happened to me the other day, right? I heard a song within the first 5 minutes of waking up and it literally stuck with me. I caught myself all day thinking about the song. I caught myself all day wanting to listen to the song. I caught myself all day, just repeating the lyrics to a song. Why is that? Because within the first 30 minutes of you waking up is when your subconscious mind is the most open. So whatever you feed it in the beginning of the day is what it's gonna, remember, it determines the direction of your thoughts for the rest of the day. So the best way to manage your thoughts, okay, is to make sure that you have a routine that you can follow that helps you overcome all those negative thoughts. You got to rewire it. My mentor once told me, he said, no, your life is like a ball of yarn, right? And I was like, what do you mean by that? He said, well, you know, a big ball of yarn, the things people use to create sweaters and rugs and stuff. He said, your life is like a ball of yarn. He said, right? He said, that ball of yarn has been developed for over 24 years, right? And this is when he told me this. For 24 years, you've created this ball of yarn. Okay. He said, now what you need to do is you need to personally undevelop all of that. So those 24 years, you got to unravel those 24 years. Boom. He says you got to unravel 24 years of bad thoughts, bad programming, bad emotions, limiting beliefs, this. You got to unravel all of it and then redo it the right way. And, me being curious, I'm like, yo, but if it's like that, is it going to take me 24 years to unravel it? He was like, no, obviously not. It could take you a year. It could take you 2 years. It could take you 3 years. It all depends on how much work you put into it, right? All depends on how much work you put into it and how much thought, right? It doesn't take the same amount of time to unravel it than it did to re-ravel it, right? So I was like, okay, I'm going to get to work on it. And this is why it took me years before I was able to become successful in business, because I always tell people, I'm like, yo, where I came from and the thoughts and the person that I was, right, it wasn't going to help me become successful. I was in a bad place mentally. I wasn't there. I had to unravel years of bad programming, bad thoughts, bad this. And then how did you unravel? Well, the routine. Feeding yourself new information every day, listening to new information every day, writing your goals down, doing things that you've never done, practicing prayer every day, practicing gratitude every day, practicing meditation, practicing reading, journaling, audios, gym, all of these things. That is going to help you get out of it, because now you're feeding yourself the opposite of the information. Instead of feeding yourself what you always knew, now you're feeding yourself the opposite. And if you feed yourself the opposite enough, okay, it's like a snowball effect. The same way you were snowballing affecting in the negative, you can snowball affect in the positive as well. So I was able, luckily, and thanks to God, I was able to unravel all of those years of bad programming. And then now it's all good programming that I'm creating. It's all good programming. But this is why, like I said again, I feel how I feel. This is why I'm not able to get affected the way that I'm able, the way that others are affected, is because of so much work that I've put in. I know how important my morning routine is. Bro, I rather for real, like there's nothing I wouldn't want to do in the morning more than my morning routine. Like there's nothing else I want to do in the morning but my morning routine. Because I know what it's doing for me. Right? That's my daily work. That's my main priority. If I can't do that, then I can't make other things a priority, because I'm not stepping into the day the best version of myself. And that's what I always tell people. I'm like, yo, guys, people don't make themselves a priority. You got to make yourself a priority. You have to make yourself a priority. You got to exercise that. Okay, each and every single day. I remember guys, I was so obsessed with this information that, remember, I'm an obsessive person. So when I do something, I do it with everything I got. I had alarms set every single day from 12 to 12 to remind me the feeling is a secret. Gratitude is a source where all good things come from. Manage your thoughts. Remember, I had to manage my thoughts so I could be able to manage my emotions, because, write this down, you don't see things as they are, you see things as you are. You don't see things as they are, you see them as you are, right? So if you're in a bad state of mind and something happens in your life, then you're going to look at it as bad. If you're in a good state of mind and something happens, you always look at it as good. Okay? You always look at it as good. There's always good out of it. Hey, it is what it is, Neno. You never look at it as bad, right? I'll give you guys an example. Okay? This weekend, believe it or not, I missed both my flights. Okay? I missed my flight to go to North Carolina, and I missed my flight to come back to Miami. I don't know how. I'm not the type of person to miss flights, but it happened. But because I'm in a good state of mind, I looked at everything in the most positive way possible. So look at what happens. I missed my flight to go to North Carolina. It sucked because the door closed right in my face as I got to the gate. So I get to the gate and the door is closing. Okay. Long story short, they end up rebooking me for a flight for like 4 hours later. Whatever. It is what it is. I took it with a grain of salt, and I was like, yo, it's not meant for me to be on the flight. It's meant for me to stay here. Okay. And now I get to do mornings with Nano. Okay. Because in reality, I wasn't even going to be able to do mornings with Nano if I got on the flight, because I would be on the flight during the call. So I was actually going to have to reschedule mornings with Nano. So I was waiting to see if I was going to make it. So boom, I ended up not getting on the flight. They rebooked me 4 hours later. So now I have time to do mornings with Nano. Funny thing about it, listen to this. I'm sitting down at a restaurant doing mornings with Nano, and this guy passes me his phone. I'm on the call. Like, think about it. I'm on the call, and this guy passes me his phone like this. And I look at it, and he says, on the phone, he had it in his notes. He was like, write down the name of your podcast, bro. I want to follow you after this. I'm on the call on Mornings with Nano, and he passes me his phone, and I'm looking at this guy, and he's there with his wife, and he thinks, long story short, I end up getting off the call, and this guy is somebody. He went to school for mindset. I think he was he went to school for psychology. He's from Orlando. I have an event in Orlando this Friday that he's coming to now. Okay. His wife and him, he was in the military, this whole nine. And I ended up making a great connection. And it was amazing. And it was dope. And it was great. And I was happy. I ended up getting on my flight. I got to the place I had to get to. I got there right on time, and everything worked in my favor. But had I got on the flight, I would have never met that great couple, right? And who knows what's going to come from that, right? He's coming to the event with his wife on Friday that we're having in Orlando. But look, I looked at everything in a good, positive light, because I'm in a good, positive light. In the past, I would have been like, damn, this sucks, bro. I would have been tight. I would have been frustrated. I would have been this, blah, 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 blah. But because, remember, you don't see things as they are. You see things as you are. So because I'm in a good place in my mind, okay, I took it with a grain of salt, water under the bridge. It is what it is. I wasn't meant to be there. I'm not going to allow myself to get frustrated. Okay, I'm not going to allow myself to get frustrated by the situation. I'm going to look at everything in a positive light. Okay, and that's what I did. And because I did, sometimes what ends up happening is God rewards that behavior, because you managed yourself in the proper way. You managed your emotions in the proper way. I didn't let that thing get the best of me. And it's funny because the guy that I was next to, I was like, damn, this guy's emotional intelligence is not bad. But I felt him too, because he missed his flight. He's with 7 people. He's with his wife, his kids, his mom, Now he has to rebook a flight, pay $100 per flight. Like, he was going crazy. He was cursing everybody out. I'm like, yo, I need to get out of here. Rebook me my flight and let me get out of here because I don't want to be around this negative energy right now. He was cursing out the poor lady. I felt so bad for her. But it was the difference, right? It was the difference between me being calm and that guy being frustrated, right? I could literally see the difference. I'm like, yo, this is crazy. And I just remember telling the girl, yo, thank you for everything that you do. I'm sorry that you're going through this. And she rebooked me my ticket, and I got up out of there while she stayed there having to deal with him, who was going crazy and couldn't manage his emotions because he was just as mad as everyone else was. But I say that because I'm able to manage my thoughts. But why do I manage my thoughts so well? Because I'm always working on myself. I'm always reading books. I'm always writing down my goals and how I feel. I'm always practicing gratitude. I'm always listening to audios. I'm always doing the right thing. So when the situations arise, when it's time for me to practice my emotional intelligence, I practice it the right way. I could have been mad. I could have been frustrated. I could have been the one cursing them out and being like, yo, you guys this, blah, 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 blah. But I wasn't. I was the guy that was calm. I was the guy that was saying thank you. I was the guy that was, hey, I get it. It was my fault. I take accountability for it. I should have been here earlier. Okay, can you please rebook me for the next available flight? That was me. I took it with a grain of salt. I was happy. I was like, whatever, it is what it is. God wants me. You know, KD always tells me if I miss a flight, yo, you're meant to meet somebody at the airport. He always tells me, yo, it's meant, yo, just you're meant to meet somebody at the airport. And it was just like that. I met somebody at the airport and it was great. Okay, but I was able to manage my emotions in that situation. Okay, but the only reason I was able to manage my emotions the right way was because I'm able to manage my thoughts, my self-management. Okay, that's number 2. All right, if you guys are still with me here, put a number 2 in the chat box if you guys are still with me. We got 2 more and we're done. Okay, I started at 10:20. We'll be done by 11:20. Okay, number 3. All right, number 3 for the 4 levels of emotional intelligence is social awareness. This one is very important. Social awareness. All right, let's see who we got on here with me. Social awareness. What is social awareness? Social awareness, write this down, is understanding and acknowledging others' emotions. You need to know these 4 levels, so I hope you guys are taking notes on this. Social awareness is understanding and acknowledging other people's emotions. This is very important right here. You see, you got to be really good at acknowledging others' emotions. We have a lot of people in our lives. We all do. We have friends, we have family, we have kids. Okay. We have a lot of emotions in our life. I mean, we have a lot of people in our lives. All right. So in order for us to understand the people around us, we need to take the time to understand other people's emotions. So we have so many people around us: parents, kids, friends, neighbors, team members, business partners, all these things. So remember, emotional intelligence isn't just about managing your thoughts and your emotions. It's about also the people that you interact with. And the same way you're able to understand yourself is the same way you got to be able to understand other people. Okay, because I'm in a business of people. I'm actually grateful that I'm in a business of people. This book right here taught me something: how to win friends and influence people. It says that the highest paid commodity on earth is the ability to deal with people. That's what this book taught me right here. So the highest skill that you could ever learn, the highest commodity. Can't remember it off the top of my head. I wish I could find it really quick. But he says the highest commodity on earth is the ability to manage people. I'm gonna find it and I'm gonna read it to you guys one day. So I'm grateful that I have a business that is all about people. My whole business is about people. Okay, it's all about people, because I got to deal with people every single day. And a lot of my business nowadays, right now, 70% of my business, 60 to 70% is women. So I've had a beautiful experience with learning how to manage people's emotions. I've gotten good at it because I've had to deal with so much people. But the reason why I got so good at it, it was because I've learned how to be a great listener. Number one, being a great listener is very important. Number two, learning how to put yourself in their shoes, right? Having empathy. Okay. Learning how to put yourself in their shoes. I've learned how to do that. And I've learned how to listen to respond, not to react. That's something a lot of us don't do. Some of us are not good listeners. So it's hard for us to have empathy for people that we're not listening. And we don't listen to react. No, we listen to react, not to respond. Okay? It's very important that you guys understand this stuff. This is key information. When I talk to people, I'm always listening. I take the time to intentionally listen to everything that they're saying. Sometimes people, all they want to do is be heard. Number two, I always put myself in their shoes. Okay, I always put myself in their shoes because I understand that people go through things. Okay, I tell people all the time, I'm like, yo, I have to put myself in your shoes because I get why you're going through. Like I get it. I'm with you on it. Like that's hard. I couldn't imagine what it's like for you to be going through what you're going through. Okay, I put myself in their shoes, and I don't listen just to react. I listen to respond, which means I'm listening to give them the best response that I can give them. Okay, and for example, but it's in every situation, right? For example, you're in a car. Boom, somebody cuts you off. Boom. I'm not gonna be the guy that honks the horn. Yo, F you. That's not me. That's not me. I know I'm in cars with people where I see them do that. They're in the car. Boom, somebody cuts them off. Oh, F this guy. And wow, look at where we live. This place is crazy. Blah, 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 blah. Me, I say, hey, I pray he gets to where he wants to get to safely. God bless him. He needs to get to where he wants to get to on time. And I just pray for him. Okay, he cut me off. So what? I don't have road rage. I'm not the road rage kind of person. I'm the type of person that if I'm on a line and the guy is cutting me and the guy is trying to cut me off, I'm the one that stops. Go ahead, my brother. Go in. Do your thing, baby. No worries. I'm okay. I'm not in no rush. You know, like that's who I am. I don't take none of those things personal, right? I'm not the road rage kind of person. I pray for people while I'm on the road, right? I'm not the type of person to go and start cursing people out, F this person and that and blah, blah. No, that's not me, man. I remember it's social awareness. I understand that they're probably in a rush. They're probably late. Okay, they need to get somewhere. They got to do what they got to do. They got to cut people off. They got to cross the lines. They got to do all of these things. I get it. I've been there before. You know what I'm saying? I've been there before. Why am I going to put out all this negative energy, okay, so that then I can get all that negative energy back? It's okay. I get it. I'm not attached to that stuff. You know, when somebody, you know, you meet somebody and people have weird, you know, vibes towards you, you got to understand that not everybody's going to have the right emotions as well. You got to know how to manage things. You got to know the people that you're in relationships with. You got to know those people, right? I know the people I'm around. I know when they're emotional. You got to know your significant other, right? If you know that your significant other, when he or she gets mad, they say things that they don't mean, bro, be aware of that stuff. Yo, every time this person gets mad, they always say things to me that they don't mean. So while they're saying those things, just take it. Just be like, whatever, blah, blah, blah. Let them calm down. Take it for what it is, whatever. And then when they calm down, then you have a conversation with them. Because most of the time when somebody's in an emotional and frustrated state, they're probably going to say things to you that they don't mean. That's what I would do in my past relationships. Boom. Okay. Got it. We'll talk later. We'll talk later. No worries. I feel you. I get it. I know you're frustrated, but we'll talk later. And later we'll talk. And then the truth. Why? Because they were reacting instead of responding. Reaction is you go based off of emotion. Responding is you go based off of logic. You think before you act. Right? My mentor always told me, he said, Nano, if you react, you lose. You respond, you win. So in every situation, I always look to respond. I always look to respond. Always. So even I can never remember, if I meet you at that level, then there's nothing there, because then we're just gonna go back and forth. But if I'm able to take a step back and be like, okay, let me be the bigger person, let me take the high road, and then later we have a conversation that's completely different. It's the same thing with kids, understanding, you got to understand all of it. I get it. For example, the other day I was talking to my leaders, right? I was talking to the leaders within my organization. I had realized that a lot of the leaders, a couple of the leaders, had kind of lost their spark for a little bit. Me being the leader that I am, I understand others' emotions. Okay, so I can't be frustrated and pissed off and like, yo, you guys are not doing the work and you guys are not this and blah, 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 blah. I can't do that, because I had to first put myself in their shoes. I know what it's like. You know, we're 5 months, 4 months, 5 months into the New Year's. We've been working nonstop, trainings, events. I get it. Sometimes it gets overwhelming. A lot of the repetition, the calls, the trainings, the chats, all of these things, right? So instead of me, the old leader of me would have been frustrated, like, yo, why are these people slacking off? Like, this is crazy, this and this and that. Instead, I put myself in their shoes. And what did I do? I send them a nice message. Yo, look, guys, I get where you guys are at. I've been there before. I know it gets frustrating and overwhelming when you have to do all of these things over time. But look, this is what it's required in order for us to get to where we want to go to. We got to be able to push through these days. The days when we feel tired, the days when we feel overwhelmed, the days where we feel like we don't want to do anything. These are the days that counts, guys. So you got to be okay with that. These are the daily disciplines that we got to do. Even if it feels like we got to do it over and over and over again, we got to push through. Right. And I had a conversation with them. I didn't scream at them. I put myself in their shoes, right? They say that you can't take somebody where you want to go without starting where they are. So I put myself where they are and I took them to where I want them to go, which is even through the tough times, even through the times where you're tired and you're stressed and you're depressed, you got to keep pushing. What is that called? Social awareness. Me understanding where my team is and how my leaders feel. Okay. I understand my mom. I understand my dad. Okay. I understand my little brother. I understand my mentors, my leaders, everyone around me. I understand and acknowledge their emotions and why they are the way that they are. I know what makes my leaders mad. I know what makes my leaders sad. I know what makes my brother frustrated, right? I understand people's emotions. So because I can understand people's emotions and I can acknowledge them, I can manage my social awareness a lot better. Okay. I know that my little brother hates when he calls me and I use my phone as he's on the phone with me. He hates that. So when my little brother calls me now, I make sure that I'm on the phone without talking to him. He hates it. He gets so mad. He always tells me, bro, if I call you again and you use your phone while I'm talking to you, I'm going to hang up the phone. He always gets so mad at me because of that. So me being a big brother, okay, I'm not going to react to it. I get where he's coming from. That's something that frustrates him that I do. So what I do is now when he calls me, I don't use my phone because I don't want him to get frustrated. You know, I don't want my little brother to get frustrated at me. That's called social awareness. Now, if I keep doing it, then that's not social awareness, right? Because I know that it'll frustrate him and I'm still doing it. Right? That's called not having social awareness. Okay, so now, but those are things that we got to become aware of. So you have to become aware of these things, right? You have to become aware of what emotions other people feel based off of your actions. Okay, a lot of that you got to become aware of all of it, everything around you. Okay, so that's number 3. I could get so much deeper into it. But that's number 3, and then number 4. So we can wrap it up here because I know it's been an hour already. Number 4 is relationship management. Number 4 is relationship management. Okay, it's your ability to influence others and inspiring others by being the example. How do you deal with people who don't know how to deal with your emotions? That's a great question. How do you deal with people that don't know how to manage or don't know how to deal with your emotions? I think the best way to do it is do your best to have a conversation with them and teach them.
So they can meet you where you're at.
Yeah, I think sometimes you gotta teach people, right? You know, I've had to teach people in the past, like, yo, look, this is how I operate. This is how I feel. And if you do this, you do that, this stuff triggers me. So if you continue to do that, you're gonna trigger me. And if you care enough, right, to not trigger me anymore, then you'll stop doing those things. I think a lot of it is conversation and having a serious conversation with them and making them aware, and also having the patience to know that they're not going to change overnight, that they still may make that mistake. But as long as you're willing to make them aware and hold them accountable throughout the process, then they're good, right? But the last thing right here is relationship management, is your ability to influence others and inspire others by leading by example when it comes to all of this. This is the best way for you. This is so important, guys. The most valuable thing in life that we have is our relationships. Ray Dalio, the author of Principles, he said, money has no intrinsic value. So the most valuable thing that we have in life is our relationships. Money comes and goes. Business come and go. All of that stuff comes and goes. Relationships are forever. You gotta know how to manage your emotions. Don't burn bridges over short-term paper.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I know a lot of people that like to burn bridges over short-term paper. Not worth it. Okay, you got to be the example. People trust me because people know I wouldn't burn a bridge for no money. All right, people follow me because they know I wouldn't switch up on them over any cash or any shiny object. Okay, we've been through it all. I know how the business works. I know this business is emotional. I know people go through roller coasters of emotions. So you got to be able to manage all of that stuff. Okay, you got to be able to manage all of that stuff, because you don't want to be the person that grows up and you have no relationships with anybody. Because guess what? You burned all your bridges. You didn't learn how to manage your emotions. You didn't learn how to inspire others. You didn't learn how to acknowledge others. You didn't know how to manage your emotions. You weren't aware of you. And now you're all alone. And you have no friends, no family members. Everybody doesn't want to spend any time with you because you're an emotional wreck. You don't want to be that person. You want to be the person that everybody loves you. Everybody wants to talk to you. Everybody's inspired by you. Everybody follows you because you're the example, because you know how to manage. You know how to be a great listener. You know how to take people to a place that they've never been. Okay. And I'm not perfect at it. But I'm working on it every single day. I work on my social awareness every day. Okay. I work on my self-management every day. I work on my self-awareness every day. I work on my relationship management every single day. This is something I work on every day. Okay. Every single day. All right. I went to that trip to North Carolina because I gave my coach my word. Right. And I know that if I had not went to that trip, he would have taken that personal, because I gave him my word, and I know how big he is on word. So no matter what the trip was going to cost, I had to be there, because I'm like, my coach is not going to feel good about this. So I got to be there. Right. I know, I understand. I always put myself in other people's shoes. I understand emotions on a deep level. But the reason why I'm so good at understanding people's emotions is because I understand myself better. I work on myself daily. The daily work is what a lot of people are missing. You got to work on yourself daily if you want things to change for you. And those right there, guys, are the 4 levels of emotional intelligence. Let me see who was taking notes. What was the first level of emotional intelligence? Let me see who my note takers are. What was number one for the levels of emotional intelligence? What was number one? Right? Number one was self-awareness. Number one was self-awareness. Okay. Key information. All right. The ability to know yourself and understand your feelings. All right. What was number two? What was number two? Number two was what? Self-management. Okay. The ability to manage your thoughts that you're having on a day-to-day basis. You want to have better emotions throughout the day, manage your thoughts. Okay. What was number three? Number three was social awareness. The ability to understand and acknowledge other people's emotions, which is a very important one, especially from my leaders and business owners on this call. Especially from my leaders and business owners on this call. And then number four is relationship management. The ability to influence others and inspire others by leading by example. Be the example. Be the bigger person, always. Always be the bigger person. Guys, I'm always the first to apologize, believe it or not. I don't have no ego. If I was wrong, I'll be the first to apologize. I'm the first to take accountability because I get it. I'm that guy. I'll apologize right away if I'm wrong. I'm the first one to apologize. I'm the first one to take accountability. I get it. You got to know how to manage all of these things. But the most important thing about your emotional intelligence, just in case you didn't know, you got to be able to manage up here. If you can manage up here, you can manage emotions. If you can't manage your thoughts, you can manage your emotions. If you can manage your thoughts, you can manage your emotions. That's the secret key. Become the better version of you and watch how much better you put it in. But remember, it's a daily practice. Every day you got to practice this. Every situation that you get put in, you got to put it to practice. All right, guys? So I appreciate you guys. I love you guys. I hope you guys all have a beautiful, beautiful rest of your days. Before we hop off, I'm going to do a quick prayer for us, and we're going to end it up right there. All right? So I appreciate you. Really quick prayer, guys. Let's bow our heads and let's pray. Father God, we just want to say thank you so much for allowing us to wake up on this beautiful Tuesday morning. Because we made the wake up list this morning, we know that you are not done working on us. You're teaching us all the amazing lessons when it comes to our emotions and when it comes to managing our thoughts. Now more than ever, we understand the importance of our emotions and what we need to do to get to where we want to go to. We ask that you put your hand over us and you heal us of any emotions that aren't serving us, that you remove any negative thoughts and any negative feelings that aren't allowing us to grow into the version of ourselves that we want to go to. But we also ask you to give us some discernment when it comes to managing other people's emotions and other people's situations so we can be able to put ourselves in their shoes and respond the best way that we can. We thank you so much for the lessons, for the community, for your love, for our health, and for everything that you're doing for us each and every single day. Thank you for everything that you're going to do for us in this summer and for the rest of this year. And we just thank you for being our leader and holding our hand through this process. We love you and we appreciate you. Let's go out there and have a great day. In God's name we pray. Amen. 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 All right. I love you guys. I appreciate you guys. If you guys have not subscribed to my channel, please do. I would really appreciate it. Share this with a friend. Share this with a family member. We are very, very close to hitting 10,000 subscribers on YouTube. And I want to do that before this summer comes. So we got till the end of the month to make it happen. So I think we only need a couple more. So if you guys have not subscribed, please do. Leave a like, leave a comment. Let me know what was the biggest takeaway you got from this call. And with that being said, I love y'all. I appreciate you guys. I'll see you guys on Thursday. God bless.